Pleasure to welcome you to this, our very first China Connect event. First of what we hope to be a long series of engagements with the People's Republic of China here at the University of the West Indies Arthur Lockjack School of Business. I would like to introduce you to our very distinguished speakers today. First, we will have Professor Miguel Carillo, the Executive Director of the school, followed by a student who is pursuing his Ph.D. in Strategic Management, Mr. Kevin Fleury. We would also like to welcome Mr. Arthur Lockjack, the founder of this school, and in this 25th year of our existence, it's a signal honor to have him here as well. And his father is also from the People's Republic of China, so we expect to get some homegrown insights as to his own experience here. He's not a stranger to us by any means, so we look forward to hearing him. We'll have feature remarks by Ambassador Huang from the Embassy of the People's Republic of China here in Trinidad and Tobago, followed by Mr. Zhang Linbo, the Caribbean representative for Huawei Technologies. After this, in your handouts, in your packages, you would have seen some blank sheets. Those are for you to write any questions that you may have during the presentations, or if ideas come to you and you wish to have them further explored. We have, immediately following the speeches, a panel who will be taking questions, but they will be taken in written form for ease of translation. So if you would be so kind as to, during the speeches, write your questions, and we will have them presented to the translators. And now I pause for the translator, just to keep up with our distinguished guests. And first, I would like to invite Professor Miguel Carillo to give us some welcome remarks. Professor Carillo, you can.
Thank you, Kirk. Good morning. Ambassador of the People's Republic of China in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, His Excellency Mr. Huang Xingyuan, Mr. Arthur Lockjack, founding father, member of the Board of Directors of the Lockjack School of Business, Chairman of Associated Brands, Chairman of Guardian Holdings, Mr. Shouchen, Executive Secretary, All China Journalists Association, other distinguished delegates of the People's Republic of China, our family, members of our faculty, students, alumni, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, our warmest welcome. The Arthur Lockjack Graduate School of Business is proud of the relationship it shares with the ambassador and the staff of the Embassy of the People's Republic of China. As Executive Director, I am pleased on behalf of our business school, celebrating now our 25th anniversary this year, and on behalf of this august audience, to welcome His Excellency Ambassador Huang and the head of the visiting delegation, Mr. Shouchen, Executive Secretary of All China Journalists Association, as well as all the other members of your delegation. Ladies and gentlemen, as our history shows, both countries, Trinidad and Tobago and China, had strong cultural and social links spanning over more than 2 centuries. During this time, the Chinese community has played a pivotal role in this nation's development, and as is with other communities that came from across the globe. However, we need now to look at the future and our sustainability. One of our best ways to do that is through, obviously, trade and investment, but most importantly, through relationships and friendship. Many agreements have been signed between both countries and governments, paving the way for entrepreneurs to seize these opportunities. Yet, many of us are yet to be connected with China. It's not if we should, it's only when and how. Now, this must connect to China, puts this event in context. Our intention is basically for us to better understand the trends and developments in China and to give us enough skills and resources to connect with China in meaningful and productive ways. In closing, I will again like to thank the Embassy of China, led by His Excellency Xingyuan, for partnering with us. We look forward for future collaboration initiatives that will continue to build on the legacy of strong relations with the People's Republic of China. I thank you.
Thank you, Professor, and forgive me for not introducing myself properly. My name is Kurt St. Bernard, and I am the Program Director for the Executive MBA, but I'm also a member of faculty, and my Ph.D. thesis is on asymmetrical parity, which is the equality of unequals. So if you're in a school, I must explain some school terms, so forgive me. Asymmetrical parity is, as I literally said, the equality of unequals or the inequality of equals. And basically what it tries to measure is how countries of such a vast different size and scope can actually engage each other without the larger consuming the smaller. Because in this region, our history with big and small relationships has always been one of colonialism, post-colonialism, imperialism, slavery, plantation system. However, because of our historical relationship, we've never evolved structurally beyond the big-small paradigm of the past. What the Sino-Caribbean, Sino being China, the Sino-Caribbean relationship does is it gives us the opportunity to consider the asymmetrical size, but the parity of the relationship, because China, as a southern country, relates very closely and is structured along very similar lines as we are. So, end of lesson. I hope Mr. Fleury is ready and queued. Mr. Fleury, are you here? Thank you. I'd like to ask PhD student Mr. Kevin Fleury, who is actually studying in Shanghai, just to say a few brief words as to his experience. Mr. Fleury?
Thank you. All protocols observed. Nin hao. Good morning, everyone. Wushu Shanghai Li Gong Da Shui, Wu Jiao Kevin Fleury. So I'm here to talk about China Connect. I try to make it as simple as possible for us to understand what are the opportunities in China. So I would like to put the discussion in context. First of all, we have a education-job mismatch. What is happening is that the education sector within China has expanded, but the changes within the education sector is causing an oversupply of labor that doesn't meet the requirements of the job market, specifically at this time. To mitigate, the government is initiating vocational training, but this creates a gap for skills. Skills, for example, China recently signed a deal with Russia to create a pipeline of natural gas, and I can't think of another country that has expertise in the technical area when it comes to natural gas than Trinidad and Tobago. Right? Basically, what the country is also doing, they are moving to the west. So most of the economic activity in China is along the eastern borders, along the sea area, Shanghai, the coastal area like Shanghai, for example, Jiaxing. So what they are attempting to do is move to the west. What this means for potential investors is that there are opportunities in the west to invest. So basically, resources will be cheaper. You can go in there and get supply of labor. You can get infrastructure. You will get support from the government to start business in China. Moving on, I'd like to talk about Chinese companies that are thinking global. Some of you may know of some of the brands here already, like Lenovo, but I would like to bring your attention to Xiaomi. Xiaomi has all the business requirements necessary to equate Apple, for example, iPhones, but it sells for half of the price. As a result, companies like Xiaomi, this is a cell phone company, is growing exponentially fast. So too Tencent, which is the owner of messenger application WeChat. It competes with WhatsApp, right? The market value of this company is currently over 100 billion USD, which is similar to Facebook, which is about 103 billion USD. So companies in China are growing exponentially. For example, Chery. Chery is a company that is building cars for the Chinese market, and it is aggressive in its internationalization strategy by joint ventures and acquisitions, for example. So if you are interested in cars, you can approach Chery to get tailor-made cars for your economy, even electric cars. Shanghai International Mobility. Now, I study in Shanghai, and these points here are specific to what I've seen since I've been there. It's a melting pot for culture and learning. Increased spending on goods and services because of the widening of the middle class. Entry to international markets. What is happening is that foreign countries are setting up in China. And because China has an international trust into developing business and other economies, companies that go and set up in Shanghai could actually piggyback on the China movement and actually get initiatives in foreign countries that they didn't initially intend. So they are actually growing faster by setting up business in Shanghai. New manufacturing trade zones. What is happening is that the manufacturing companies in China are trying to attract new buyers. So by trying to attract new buyers, they actually send out agents, for example, like sales agents, who would bring potential buyers to their business. And if you come to their business, it's different from buying online, for example, because if you buy online, right, your negotiation skills are less than if you buy in person. So when you go to the manufacturers, you are able to say, okay, give me this product at this requirement at this cost. And because you are negotiating face-to-face, your terms of agreement will be much better than online transactions. Growth of technology parks. What this is basically, the companies that operate within the technological park try to innovate, not to meet any specific business requirements, but basically they create things that they believe would meet a need. You would now go to the business park and see what they are doing and try to apply it to some problem that you may have, right? So basically they can tailor-make certain things to your need, right? So it exists there. These companies normally target people who are interested in technologies. I myself visited a technology park and saw a 6-point touchscreen LDC screen. Normally, LDC screens, touchscreen are 1 point. This company was doing 6 points. So you can apply this to the medical industry, for example, but it's up to you. And moving on, Caribbean startups. And I think you all will be interested to know that we actually have Caribbean people within Shanghai doing business. I met the owner of a cereal factory, right? What he's doing is he's basically taking granola and he's making cereal, and the company is growing. It's growing within Shanghai. He recently set up a factory, and he's expanding slowly but surely. There are restaurants selling our cuisine in Shanghai. The taste is a little, but but it's a start. It's a start, and we need more cooks. We need people interested in going to Shanghai and doing well. And in entertainment, there's a company that is doing media production in Shanghai, and he's doing well. He's actually working because of his English speaking ability. You have a huge contingent of English speakers in Shanghai who cannot speak Chinese Mandarin, and so you get business from that pool, as well as if you are able to learn Mandarin, you could also tap into the Chinese market as well. So that is my contribution, and I hope I added value. Thank you.
We'd now like to invite Director, Mr. Arthur Lockjack, to give some remarks. Mr. Lockjack.
Good morning, everyone. Ambassador Huang, Mr. Shouchen, Executive Secretary, the China Journalists Association, Professor Carillo, members of the Chinese delegation, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to start with I know Professor Miguel Carillo mentioned, I think that my father was from China. And that is true. Actually, my mother came to China many years ago and met my mother in Trinidad, got married, opened a couple of shops, as most Chinese did in those years, and still do today. And many of you would have attested many supermarkets, Chinese supermarkets that are springing up all over Trinidad and Tobago today. He met my mother, who is of Indian origin and with a bit of Scottish thrown, and I'm the end result. So allow me to just say one opening mark here, that is Yo Peng Xingyuan Fang Lai Bu Yi Le Hu. To have friends come from afar is happiness, is it not? That's the translation. I hope I got that right. Allow me to say, and I have to have a script because this has been given to the Chinese translators to be able to translate for their own purposes. But allow me to say how thrilled I am to be able to welcome Ambassador Huang and his delegation from the People's Republic of China. This visit to the graduate school coincides with the 25th anniversary of the school, of which I am proud to have played some part in establishing. For me, this represents both the continuation of a relationship long ago started with the school and the start of a new chapter of deeper collaboration. China's astonishing economic growth over the past 3 decades since its reform and opening up to the outside world is unprecedented. Today, China plays an increasingly important role in world politics and has inspired countries, particularly in the developing South. As the second largest economy in the world, China continues to defy most business predictions. In the ever-changing structure of power distribution today, it is prudent to consider how a friendly relationship with China can allow us to grow beyond the traditional trading partners and expand from our small country to the farthest corners of the international economy. In Trinidad and Tobago alone, China has made robust investments in the areas of technology, trade facilitation, flexible financing, construction, healthcare, education, cultural exchanges, and a variety of ongoing interventions which all serve to cement the rapidly growing relationship between our countries. Many of these are with state-owned corporations, many of these are with governments, and are moving in more and more to the private sector today. In my own personal experience in dealing with China, I have found the environment to be one guided by wisdom and pragmatism, as well as a high degree of pride in the quality of any undertaking. In considering the strengthening of the relationship, I hope that the session to follow is going to be rich with discussion as we act in synchronization with the theme, China Connect. China is a vast country, and I will stray from my script a bit. Obviously, there is a disconnect between the world's second largest economy and its GDP per capita because of the large population. But I'm sure that if you disaggregated China and you started to look at China as different regions or cities, you would find that the GDP per capita would be rather high. But when you average it out over all the rural areas of China and the rural population, the GDP per capita drops. So whilst GDP per capita, in my view, is a useful indicator, it is not many times it can somewhat distort the picture of the overall country, actually. So I think one has to be very careful when one sees the low GDP per capita, and one must not, look at that from the point of view of the level of development of China. It is totally wrong to do that. So I think that when we take a look at Trinidad and Tobago, with a high GDP per capita of a middle developing country to the tune of between 20 and 23 million, 20 to 23,000 US dollars per capita, we are one of the highest in the Western Hemisphere, apart from Canada, the United States, and one or two other countries. Our developmental statistics are strong, and that is why our image in the world is very strong also. And so we have many delegations that come here, presidents that come here. Your president came here, Ambassador Zhang, actually some time ago. And Trinidad is important enough to be able to draw this level of diplomatic people and presidents and world leaders to its shores, actually. So I think that between China and Trinidad, we can certainly cement our relationships going forward in the area of trade and investments. China has invested in the Caribbean. It continues to invest in the Caribbean. I know of many projects that China is working on right now, hotels in Barbados and various areas, large investments, actually which transformational investments, which are now going on. And I know that they're very interested in developing in many industries in Trinidad. But apart from just trade, many of you are aware that you can buy nearly every product you buy in the United States today, or even in Trinidad. A lot of them actually are made in China, whether it's branded, a Chinese brand or an American brand or whatever brand it is, but quite a lot of times it's manufactured in China. And I think the other aspect of it is the investment portfolio of China. China is one of the largest investors in US Treasuries. It keeps the interest rates in the United States very low, given tremendous room for American consumers to buy more Chinese goods. But basically, it's a cycle, it works around, and I think that while China is far away from us, and one wonders how we can do more trade with China, actually, I think one of the things that we have to look at is the investment portfolio, and how can we get more Chinese investments in Trinidad and Tobago. In closing, I'd like to offer my own suggestions for deeper collaboration in non-commercial areas, such as scholarships, the student exchanges and internships, faculty exchanges, and establishment of a chair for Chinese trade and commercial specializations. Ambassador, I hope you can do something in respect to that. And I would like again to welcome our esteemed guests to Trinidad and Tobago and to thank all gathered, in particular Mr. Zhu and Ambassador Huang, for accepting our invitation, and I look forward to the rich discussion to follow and a more robust future in Sino-Trinidadian and Tobago economic relations. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.